You know, I lament all the time publicly on this page about how I'm sad that I didn't grow up speaking Tagalog because my parents weren't taught it. But one of the other things that I kind of get sad about, and that I sadly don't really think of that much because I should think of it more often, is not being passed down ASL either. Because not only did my father not learn Tagalog, he did not learn ASL. And my aunt is deaf. And this wasn't a realization I really had as far as, inheriting a language until I visited my cousins in Arizona. And my cousins are children of deaf adults. Both my aunt and uncle are deaf. My aunt wasn't born deaf, but she kept getting ear infections as a kid, which caused her to go deaf at a really little age. And my uncle was born deaf. And I only just recently learned that none of my aunts and uncles, the hearing ones, none of them can do ASL because my grandmother did not want my deaf aunt to rely just on ASL, which I think is really unfortunate because, especially with my uncle who doesn't hear at all, my aunt can hear a little bit. I've never been able to communicate him at all my entire life, except for maybe I love you. And we all know that spelling things out in ASL takes way too long. I've thought about it, believe me. My aunt can hear a little bit, but she still needs interpreting for the most part. She still gets left out of conversations that gets frustrated. And I kind of feel like a letdown, especially as a linguist and a polyglot, somebody who studied a lot of orally spoken languages, but didn't learn ASL. And it's I keep telling myself that I'm going to look at resources and try to learn it. But then I kind of lose steam and lose my motivation because I'm not regularly interacting with people who use ASL, including my family because they live in another state. And this was my first time seeing them since before the pandemic in person. So it's just an interesting realization that I had where I'm missing out not only on one, but two cultural languages, with Tagalog being an ethnic thing and ASL being, I guess, a familial thing. There's not an ethnicity or anything that's associated with ASL, but it's still something that I feel should have been passed down. It's something that I wish my uncles and aunts had been taught. It's not any fault of their own. But it just reminds me, too, that this is what we talk about with disability awareness, where it's I don't even think of that stuff unless it happens to come up. And I'm going to be going to Gallifrey 1 again soon for the 8th or 9th year. That's the Doctor Who convention in LA. And every panel where we talk about representation, we're getting better about it now. But someone always is but don't forget about disability because the panelists didn't bring it up. And because I work in special education, I got to learn Braille and how to use a Brailler from people from the education department in my local area. But when I heard that one of their people works with both the hearing impaired and visually impaired kids, and she can type in Braille, and she speaks ASL, I was I want to be like that. Not only do I want to do Braille transcription, but I want to be able to communicate with people who are hard of hearing in ASL. Luckily, the teacher in our Hello, who teaches us lei making and Olelo Hawaii, he's like me and loves languages, and so he's learning Italian right now. He's learning Cantonese. He's learning ASL all at the same time. And he gave me a recommendation for a college that offers online courses, so I may take him up on that and finally learn ASL at the ripe age of 31.